pulled my canopy mould off the fuse and it's come up really well. You can see the raised bits there of where the edges of the canopy will finish, and I've already laid up some glass in there. This is going to go inside the mould to form the recess for the canopy itself. You can see the ridge on there, so it's easy to sand back to the right size that you want to actually fit the recess. So the next step is to sand this up and cut it down the centre and get each half glued into the mould. I've got the canopy shaped up and cut in half, exactly in half. I've now marked, got little marks on there where the canopy is going to go, and so now it's just a simple task of gluing those pieces in there on my marks, and I'll have the recess for my canopy. Now they're all glued in. They measure exactly the same from point to point, so they should match up when the fuse is moulded. All I've got to do now to this fuse mould is form the jogger gasket, and I'll be ready to pull the part out. I've also been working on my wing. I'm going to get this moulded this week. I've been sorting out a parting board for it. On the trailing edge, I've cut in about 4 or 5 mil. I'm going to run around with my router and route it down to that line about half the thickness of the trailing edge. So when the wing sits in there and the aluminium butts up to it, it'll be the right thickness. I've also put all my aluminium underneath. I haven't stuck these straight to my wing. I was a little bit worried about pulling them off afterwards. I would hate to pull paint off when I take this apart, take those off. So what I've done is I've got some 1.5mm balsa and put double-sided tape on both sides of those, and then stuck it onto my wing. So when I pull that off, the double-sided tape will come off the balsa, and then I can take the balsa plates and tape off that way. So it just eliminates a hazard I could possibly see happening. So I've got to settle this up yet, but I'm very happy with how straight the wing looks. I've nearly completed the parting plane. This has actually taken quite a bit of effort to get it to here. Very fiddly, just trying to get everything to line up, but I found that I had to make it rigid to the bench and then start getting it level with the wing. It made it a lot easier. As you can see, I have routed my line through there. The trailing edge sits on that. On the front here, I drilled holes through the centre of this one, of the parting plane there, and then I put blocks on the back and then screwed through the front into that block to a mark on the centre of my wing. So, because it's such a thin piece, it moves up and down. So as I come to do this one, if I did this one, I would pull it up and down and line it up with the mark on my wing on the trailing edge, and then screw it off so that when the wing sits in there, it sits on top of those, and it's halfway in the parting plane. The trailing edge sits on that groove there, so the wing is all supported. I've got the first of the sides up on here. They're screwed through and sitting in place, and then on the back I had to make it rigid as well, so I screwed this piece on here and then screwed through into these blocks which go down to the bench to make that nice and rigid. These pieces here are going to form the sides of the mould. I've just got a trailing edge, a piece of aluminium to go on the trailing edge, and it's not going to give me a lot through there, but it's just going to be enough to put a bead of no more gaps to seal the bag down when I come to vacuum bag it. There's not a lot of material goes out the back there anyway. So that one there will be lined up, and I'll screw that through to form the box which is going to become my mould. I've just dropped my wing back in. I've put the aluminium on the back. That's just double side taped on, hard up against the trailing edge. I've also, you see, I've got some tape around here. I've put that tape on there. It's wrapped right around the wing. I've put a coat of wax, releasing wax on there. And if you notice, I've got, there's quite a big gap, or there's gaps all the way around. So what I've got to do now is go around and fill that gap up with some carbog. So where's the label? Just normal carbog, body filler. That's all it is. So I go around and fill that up. So it's a little bit higher than my parting plane, and then I go around and sand that off, and that will give me a very tight joint right up to the wing. After I've taken it out and polished the wing up, I'll drop it back in and go around with some clay and fill the very minute gap that will be in there up, and she'll be ready to mould. I've got all the bog in around the edges now. Just got to wait until that goes off, and then I'll pop this wing back out of the mould. I've got a bit of a gap underneath there, so I can get my hand up underneath and push it back out, and sand all that lip up. Well, wings out. It's all been sanded up. You can see there that the bog's filled up that gap nicely. I have had one spot where the bog has come out on me. So I'm just going to drop back in and fix that one spot, only just a little bit there. But apart from that, it's looking good. Just pop the wing back in again. And yeah, it's all nicely tight around there now. Just that little piece that came out. It's only a tiny little piece there. But I usually have a piece break out when I pop it out, but that's quite minor. Yeah, so that wing sits in there quite nicely when I go around with my clay. Well, when I say clay, it's modelling clay. It actually smells very similar to plasticine, so I think it is probably just plasticine, just a fancy name for it. You buy it as modelling clay. So we'll just fix that and finish this mould off. Oh, there we go. Finished the parting board, or parting plane, whatever you like to call it. I have had a little bit of a problem, not a real problem. I had to move my pin inside there instead of having it in the corner, because when you go around with your no more gaps to seal your bag, I can come around there and back in and around, just to keep that pin out of the way so it doesn't fill up with no more gaps or sealant, whatever you seal your bag down with. I will be putting a balsa block in here again, so you can put something in and tweak the mould open. But no, it's looking really good. Pins in the other end. These pins are only sitting in probably 3 or 4 mil into the board itself. They're sticking up 10 mil. When I take all these boards and everything off to do the other side, I'll pull those pins back out 10 mil again, just so they're sitting 3 mil inside the first half that I moulded, just so when you actually take it apart, it's not going to break out or chip around the hole. Yeah, so there we go. It's I got about 30 mil at the back, and roughly there was a little bit more at the front, but that's okay. So there we go. I just got to polish it up and mould it.